Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting for the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder for tonight, the 25th of March, 2024. On behalf of the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land on which we meet today, and also I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present. As part of our opening tonight, we welcome Freeman of the City, Esther Roadnight, who is here this evening as well. Welcome along, alongside our Youth Council, mentors and family. Folks, can I please get you to stand first of all before our opening prayer? This evening, before Major Craig Spooner joins us from the Salvation Army, can I please get you to bow your heads in a moment's silence for a former councillor who passed away recently, serving on the city during 1994 in Mr. Don Green.
Dear Lord, firstly we give you thanks and praise for Don Green and the life of service he gave to our community. As we come into this Easter week, we pray, Lord Jesus, as we reflect on your passion, strengthen us. Strengthen us under the pressure of temptation. Strengthen us when principle is at stake. Strengthen us to do your will, our God. Strengthen us in moments of suffering, in times of loneliness and in periods of depression. Strengthen us to always follow you, dear Jesus, nor weaken through human respect or the desire for a popular or hopes of a position in society. We pray that you would strengthen us to accept your cross and to carry it generously to the end of the battlefield. Lord of power and giver of grace and wisdom, we commend to you all who are engaged in the governance of this council. Grant to them each clean hands, pure hearts, and unfailing devotion to the cause of righteousness. To you, merciful Lord, we commend their work, praying that it may be such as that will promote your work in our midst, to the comfort of the poor, to the relief of the oppressed, to the putting down of anything that will harm our youth or those who are vulnerable. Let all of this council, everything that they speak, do, all that they are, be honourable to you, and may it be for the good of their constituents. And we ask it in the name of Christ the Lord. Amen.
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 Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Major. Thank you, folks. Please be seated. I will now read the disclaimer for this evening's meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on the Council's website in accordance with the City's public participation in Council meeting policy, which can be viewed on Council's website. All reasonable care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is broadcast. The recommendations contained in this agenda are officers' recommendations only and should not be acted upon until Council has resolved to adopt those recommendations. The resolutions of Council should be confirmed by perusing the minutes of the Council meeting at which these recommendations were considered. Members of the public should also note that they act at their own risk if they enact any resolution prior to receiving official written notification of Council's decision. I also note there is a photographer and a videographer in the room this evening, and those who may wish to take photos, there will be a time during our meeting tonight that you are allowed to. Other than that, we do ask that there is no photos or videos taken this evening. I'll advise you when you can take a photo. A record of attendance for this evening. We have all councillors present this evening. Welcome, councillors. We have the Deputy Mayor Kirsty Della, Councillor Bodica, Councillor Winner, Councillor Johnson, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Brownlee, Councillor Turner and Councillor Viskovich. We do have a swathe of staff who are in attendance this evening as well, led by CEO Andrew Bryan, Director of Development and Growth Alex Weiss, Director of Community Development Mia Hicks, Acting Director of Engineering Johan LaRue, and also the Acting Director of Corporate and Commercial in Zandra Kerno. And I do note we have many staff here, so I will leave the mentions of that to the Minutes Secretary to include a little later on. There are two apologies, the Director of Engineering, Louis Camporelli, and the Director of Corporate and Commercial, Glenda Abraham. There are no leave of absence. We have all councillors in attendance. There is no response to previous public questions taken on notice. Public access tonight, there is nil, 6.1. 6.2, we do have a question from a resident. Mr CEO, that was forwarded through today in the time frame. That is from a Mick McKay, a resident of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, who asked the following question. Will Council prevent the sale and disposal of the Loop Line Museum equipment and rolling stock until it is determined the rightful ownership of such? This auction is set down for the 13th of April. We will provide a response to the question via written means. No other further questions this evening? Petitions, deputations and presentations, there are nil. Notations of interest. Councillors, are there any interests of impartiality this evening? Nil. Councillors, are there any interests of financial? There is one, and that is with myself. That is item 15.16, an expression of interest for an independent member of Audit and Risk, as the applicant did appear in my election campaign material. Councillors, any other further financials this evening? Nil. Apart from that one. Proximity interests, councillors, nil. Thank you. Councillor Turner, we have at 9.1 a request for a leave of absence from the 23rd of May to the 13th of June 2024. Any other further leave of absences, councillors? Nil? No? Councillor Bodica, do you have a leave of absence? Sorry, just microphone, please, councillor.
Mine's from tomorrow until the 5th of April.
Thank you. Do we have that noted, Mr. CEO?
Just extended,
From tomorrow, which is the 26th of the 3rd, to the 25th
To the 5th of April.
of April. Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Councillors noting that one as well. Is there a mover to accept those, councillors? Moved, Councillor Johnson. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Discussion? No discussion. Carried 9-0. Item 10, announcements by the person presiding without discussion. Councillors, we do have the youth councillors who are here tonight and present. May I please have a motion to temporarily suspend standing orders under clause 3.2 in regards to order of business. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Winner. No discussion? Excellent, carried 9-0. Folks, you are now free to take photos for the next part. And as soon as we return to standing orders, then I will let you know that photos are no longer permitted. On that note, this evening I'd like to invite our Youth Mayor, Emily Stewart, to come forward. Emily. Congratulations, Youth Mayor.
Thank you.
Here's your name badge. The chair is all yours to call forward your fellow councillors.
Amazing. Okay, I would just firstly like to say that I am extremely proud of how far we have all come as a group. Me just starting over a year ago, I have seen us grow. I have seen us be strong. I have seen us commit to strategies and make a change in our community. And I would just like to say thank you to all of us for continuing to commit to this group and make Kalgoorlie's youth a wonderful place to be. So thank you all. I would now like to bring up our Deputy Youth Mayor, Erin Winchester. Amazing. Our next person I would like to bring up is Youth Councillor Alicia Jackson. Up next, we have Youth Councillor Kyle Callahan. Up next, we have Youth Councillor Gabriella Mullin. I would like to next bring up Youth Councillor Rosa Nicholas. Up next, I'd like to bring up Youth Councillor Summer Nicholas. And last but not least, I'd like to bring up Youth Councillor Zion Puan. Photo?
Lovely. Any other further photos? Family, staff, all good? One more. Yep, sure. Oh, excellent. Go this way. Happy to have photos.
Shani, can you get the last couple of photos? Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Can I also call the youth mentors as well, Esther? And Ken? Come back again, folks. We'll get your mentors in as well. Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much.
May I congratulate our youth mayor again, Emily Stewart, and also led as well with Erin Winchester. Congratulations to our youth leadership team. And as you heard just then, the way in which Emily spoke, I'm very excited to see the next term with our youth mayor as well. So congratulations, Emily. It is well deserved, and the enthusiasm in your eyes is incredible. Right, we need to get back to some order. Councillors, can I please have, by the way, that's the end for photos and videos, all done. Thank you. Councillors, can I have a motion to resume standing orders, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Brownlee. No discussion? Carried 9-0. Councillors, moving on to item 10.1, Mayor announcements. Several items in tonight. Apologies that did not come through to you. If you do wish to ask any questions, they are on the screen at the moment. Happy to take questions. There's a few meetings. Yes, Councillor, is there a question, please? Can you please? We'll get a printed version for you to peruse later, and if you do have any further questions. Councillors, no further questions on any of those? We'll move on. 10.2, procedural motion to suspend section 9.1 of the Standing Orders of Local Law That is to ensure that we don't need to rise to speak. Councillors, can we move that? Thank you. Councillor Viskovich moved. Seconder, Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? No one doesn't want to stand tonight. Thank you. Carried. 9-0. Confirmation of minutes that the meetings that we did have confirmed as a true record of the meetings. The agendas are from, and the minutes are from the 20th of November, the 22nd of January, 20th of November 2023, 22nd of January 2024, 22nd of January 2024, and 12th of Feb we had two, the annual electors and the special council meeting, and then the ordinary meeting of council on the 26th of Feb. Councillors, a mover for those. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Viskovich. Discussion? No discussion. Carried 9-0. Motions of which previous notice has been given. Mr CEO, there are nil for those. Thank you. Councillors, there is an item for item 13, urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. That item is in your agendas for this evening, and that is the deputy members of committees. Is there a mover for that particular recommendation? Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Turner. Deputy Mayor, any discussion? Yep, go for it, Councillor, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so in bringing this one to us, this is about efficiency and effectiveness, and the reduction in the councillors from 12 to 8 streamlines business decision-making processes within the committee. Committee members can't always make these meetings, so to align, we can acknowledge the need for councillors to balance employment and council duties and reflect the reality of modern professional working life, that there needs to be exceptions. So by having a deputy, we can make various decision-making processes more adequate to represent council needs.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Turner as a seconder.
I'd just like to reiterate what the Deputy Mayor said and thank the CEO for bringing this and person, also Executive Manager of Governance and Risk Services, Francis Liston. This is very important because with a reduced council, the community does have to be mindful that councillors, it's not their full-time job and they do have other commitments. So as much as every single councillor that's here would like to be able to attend every committee meeting that we have, it's not always possible. So this is very good business practice to have these changes so that we can make sure that all our meetings are able to be held and we don't have to reschedule things, which is an even bigger inconvenience. So it's a very good motion.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? No further discussion. With no dissent. Carried 9-0. Item 14, reports of committees. Councillors, there is an en bloc resolution presented tonight for items 14.11 to 14.13, which is the Audit and Risk Committee minutes from the 16th of November. The en bloc also covers 14.21 to 14.28, which are the minutes of the Audit and Risk meeting from just last week, and also 14.32. No, 14.32 shouldn't be considered in the en bloc. Sorry, councillors, I'll just get back to the email that was sent today. 14.32 is not included in that. 14.29, sorry, that should be, not 14.32, which was the audit recommendations progress. Other items as part of the en bloc as well include 15.11, which is the accounts payable report, 15.12, the statement of financial activity, 15.14, which is the WA Electoral Commission election report, 15.21, which is the use of the reserve 42837 parking associated with Full Circle Therapies, and 14.32, apologies, 15.32, sorry, the Child Safe Awareness Policy, and also 15.4.2, which is the climate change declaration. Councillors, is there any objection to all of those going into the en bloc? No objection. The recommendation will be those particular numbers noted for the minutes, Secretary, that they are there. I'll rephrase that just for the minutes taking purposes. That's 14.11 to 14.13, 14.21 to 14.28, 29, sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. 15.11, 15.12, 15.14, 15.21, 15.32, 15.42. It's noted that all of those have a simple voting requirement this evening. Councillors, do we have a mover for the en bloc? Moved by Councillor Viskovich. Seconder for the en bloc. Councillor Brownlee. No discussion, councillors? That's moved. Thank you, councillors, and thank you, staff, for all the work that's gone into those. Many of those are minutes, and there is a lot of work that does go into that. Just for purely us to note this evening many of those particular items, so thank you to the staff for that one. That takes us through to 15.1.3, is that correct, Mr CEO? Yep, sorry, 14.3.2, which is the Youth Mayor and the Deputy Youth Mayor elections. Noting obviously that we already have given that tonight, the report is to note. Is there a mover for the youth item this evening? Moved by Councillor Winner, seconded by Councillor Bodica. Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll speak briefly on this item. It's as you've rightly pointed out, Mr. Mayor, we've recently just welcomed and awarded our badges to our brand new youth council, who are all returning once again, which has enabled us to have some fantastic continuity. That group will be led by our wonderful youth mayor and deputy youth mayor, which both come with experience and confidence. And as we heard them speak tonight, they're all very excited and very eager to get involved. So it's a fantastic opportunity for our city, for our council and our staff to have such an engaging group of young people to really push forward a lot of the concerns, ideas, and potentially partner with council on a number of projects moving forward and really help steer our community in the right direction from there. So congratulations again to our new youth mayor, deputy youth mayor and youth council, and I look forward to working with them closely in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Seconded. Councillor Bodica.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what Councillor Winner has said. Congratulations to the youth mayor, the deputy mayor and the new councillors. It's really great to see, you know, a group of young people that are so passionate about what they want to do and, you know, sort of be involved in the community. So wishing them all the very best.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? No discussion. Move as the right of reply. Not taken. No dissent. Carried 9-0. We jump forward to 15.1.3, Code of Conduct for Council Members, Committees and Candidates. This is an absolute majority required for this one. Officer recommendation is as presented. Is there a mover for the officer recommendation? Councillor Turner moving. Seconder for the officer recommendation. Councillor Winner. Councillor Turner. Discussion? No. Councillor Winner, no discussion. No dissent. Carried 9-0. 15.1.4 was part of the en bloc. 15.1.5, Australian Local Government Association Congress motion. We have a item there, councillors. Officer recommendation. Move Councillor Brownlee. Seconder, Councillor Turner. Councillor Brownlee, wish to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I believe local government plays a very important role in helping to direct and assisting in steering a lot of good, and it has the potential to be able to steer in the right direction. Very good policy and initiatives in helping to address the gap in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. I believe that the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder will play a very important role in that, and given the closing the gap targets have not been met. However, I hope that the moving of this motion will only spur us on to be able to look to the future and look at what we can achieve together in helping to address the disparity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brownlee. Councillor Turner?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I'm happy to second this motion in support of Councillor Brownlee, and I would hope that by doing this, the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder can become a leader in local government. We are behind in closing the gap nationwide. We've had let's say, a traumatic and 12 months in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander reconciliation for various reasons. So I think it's very important that we support this. We've got an opportunity to step up here, and we don't need to step sideways on these kind of things. It's an opportunity for our local government to step up and show the way. We do have a large Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander population in our region, not just in our city, in our region. So I'd like us to be to step up and be a leader here.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to start by commending the CEO for bringing this to the table and willing to put his hand up to be a leader in this space amongst local governments. For me, I think this is a very, very important motion to be putting forward, and I hope all councillors do support it, in the fact that local issues need local solutions, and there's no better way to come up with those solutions than to engage with our local community, as opposed to looking at cookie-cutter models potentially being rolled out across the country, which hasn't worked to date. So I really hope that councillors around the table get in support of this motion and empower our local councils to be able to really, really look at ways to be impactful and really start closing the gap from there at a local level. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Before the mover has the right of reply. Councillors, what's been quite clear to me in the last 6 months, and probably even a little longer attending this particular event over the last couple of years, is that we've never leveraged off of it as a city enough. The National General Assembly attracts over 500 of our local governments from across Australia. This is our chance to present to these particular local governments on the issues that matter to our local community, but also rely and to leverage on the support that the Australian Local Government Association Congress does provide as well. Times are quite challenging at the moment for the city. There's no real opportunity for us, like the present, to be able to make a change in leadership. This takes on board many of the different focuses that we've got at the moment here in our community when it comes to many of the complex issues. This particular motion to establish a specific funding stream to enable local governments to implement localised strategies takes a local leadership front to this particular issue, and also helps to further direct some of those projects and that money back into the priority areas. Generally, those priority areas are only picked up by local government. Councillors, I'd ask you to support this. I'd also like to thank the CEO as well for his assistance in creating this particular motion this evening. The mover has the right to reply. No, not taken. Councillors, any speakers? With no speakers against, no dissent, carried 9-0. Councillors, 1516, I've declared a financial interest, which I'll leave the room for. Joy.
Okay, I'll introduce the next item, 1516, expression of interest for the independent member of the Audit and Risk Committee, noting that the Mayor has left the room as he has a financial interest in this item. Would I be able to have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Turner, and seconder, Councillor Viskovich. Any discussion? Councillor Turner.
I just think it's important to highlight that this would have actually been done at our Audit and Risk Committee meeting, but due to us not being able to have a quorum there, even though we had several councillors in attendance, so I think there was 3 councillors plus the Mayor, well, there was 2 councillors, Deputy Mayor and Mayor in attendance, so we had 4 in there, which made our meeting have a quorum, but we didn't have the extra, so this probably highlights our earlier motion, the importance of being able to have those deputies. So that's why this item has actually come to council tonight. So I think that's important to highlight that issue earlier.
Without any further discussion, Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm sneaking at the very end. I just wanted to make a quick comment and really highlight how important this position is, and be thankful for the applicants that we had to come through, and particularly with the one that we're choosing to vote on tonight. This position, as our Audit and Risk Committee independent member, does provide an additional degree of transparency for our community, as well as the opportunity for additional questions to be raised directly through the community, not only to councillors and city officers, but to our independent member, if they're successful to be voted on. So thank you again, and it's wonderful to see this particular member put their hand up for this role.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any one against? Anyone else for? Okay, without any further dissent? 9-0. 8-0, sorry. Would we be able to get the presiding member back in the room, please?
Councillors, item 15.2.1 was part of our en bloc. 15.2.2, horrible e-scooter trial outcome. Councillor Winner, you have an alternate motion.
I do, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and councillors, please forgive me. It is quite a long one, but I will work my way through this one. So the alternative motion I'm proposing tonight is that Council, 1, authorise the CEO to issue a permit to Beam Mobility for a further 12 months to operate hireable e-scooters under the city's Thoroughfares and Trading in Public Places Local Law 2000 and in compliance with the city's Local Government Property Local Law 2010, subject to conditions including but not limited to A review of landing pads, locations and suitability, including consideration of measures to improve amenity. B, implementation of parking penalties for riders leaving scooters in inappropriate places. C, a local rider education campaign focusing on safe riding and specific WA legislation delivered in Kalgoorlie-Boulder. D, undertake an operational audit of geofencing and other rider safety controls and provide an operational plan to the city in response to the community survey. And E, implementation of enhanced strategies, technology and or software to improve safety and rider behaviour, focusing on helmet non-compliance and tandem riding. Actions outlined in A to D must be completed within 3 months of the commencement of the permit, and action E must be completed within 6 months of the commencement of the permit. 2, require a condition of quarterly reports to be provided to the city on progress in relation to compliance with all permit conditions. 3, request the CEO to undertake a second community survey in the first quarter of 2025. And 4, request the CEO provides a report to Council on the outcomes of the 2025 survey before considering any further permits for hireable e-scooters to Beam Mobility or any other operator.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Can I note in the item as well, it does say A to D and E. Councillors, we will get that amended, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listed under point 1 are referred to as A to D accordingly. Councillor Winner, if you're happy with that change.
Yes, I am, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder to that motion? We need to seconder first before we get some other details. Seconder? Councillor Turner. Point of clarification coming.
Point of clarification, looking at a possible addition to this, or which I spoke to Councillor Winner about briefly, with I believe that there is some technology that can be included in these to have a breathalyser mechanism put onto the scooters. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but I'd like that to be, if it is available, to be possibly added in.
Point 5, implementation of enhanced strategies, technology and or software to improve safety and rider behaviour focused on helmet non-compliance and tandem riding.
something get added in there?
We'll take some direction here from Councillor Winner. If you wish to add, it's your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll probably, in a moment, turn to the CEO for a little bit of direction in this, but I'd imagine that you could fit it in under the now changed point E, which would be to improve safety, rider behaviour, and something around the alcohol consumption side of things.
Mr CEO, your direction required, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. My understanding is they can implement through the use of the software a test. It's not a breathalyser as such, it's just a sobriety test to ensure that you're actually capable of riding. So that's already in place. They do have that on there, but they can't do a breathalyser, is my understanding of it. So I think it is probably covered in there. We can certainly raise that with them through the process.
Thank you, Mr.
Mover. There he is, right there. Councillor Winner, over to you.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, do we have a second?
Second is Councillor Turner.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Councillors, the reason behind this alternative motion is our recent survey, which recorded probably the highest I've ever seen in terms of respondents, was split down the middle. We had one vote which would swing it either way. So for me, I'm very keen on not throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this particular item, and looking at ways that we can continue to have this as both a tourist attraction and something that's usable for our resident conditions, but not limited just to those conditions in place, to ensure that those concerns which were raised in the surveys can be met by our community, while ensuring that the other half of our community, which were very supportive of the e-scooters continuing, are also receiving the benefit. So I do hope that councillors around the table will consider this alternative motion and vote in favour of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Councillor Turner.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I seconded this motion so that it could be debated because I felt it was a far better motion than the original one that was presented. I'm still of two minds. I want to listen to what everyone has to say before I decide how I'm going to vote. Purely because not just with the survey that was a split, it was a very, very even survey. The same thing I'm getting back from the community. I'm getting people that say they love the scooters, and then I'm getting people that say they absolutely hate the scooters. I don't think I need to say what my opinion is because it's actually not about my opinion, it's about what the community is. I do have serious concerns on the safety of these scooters and the pressure that they put on our police force in having to police them, because they are the ones that are left with policing them, not the rangers and not the beam mobility, because they certainly don't have beam mobility rangers out there that can fine people, or if you're breaking the law, basically. I've seen the tandem scooter riding and people with three on a scooter. A young girl in a cafe the other day told me how great these scooters were. They were fantastic because the kids could get around town and they could do everything, and they saved more money than what they did on a taxi. And I said, well, how does that work? And she said, well, 2 scooters and we fitted 6 people on. So this, with the safety controls of how many people can go on a scooter, is very important, because I don't want an accident to happen. And whilst we may not have a legal liability here because the city's covered with the operators' insurances, as a city we have a moral responsibility for responsibility and looking after our people. So I want to listen to what everyone else has to say on this, because I think they're great for getting around, but I'm just worried that they get abused a little bit. So I'm in two minds, but I really did want it debated because I think Councillor Winner has put some excellent options in here to ensure a better delivery, perhaps.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against the motion? Speaker for? Councillor O'Donnell?
Just a point of clarification. Will we still be debating this after this motion's gone through, or are we doing all the debating right now?
It's an alternate motion, so therefore it's on the table as the alternate motion that Councillor Winner has provided. It's not a foreshadowed motion. So you can debate that we're debating the alternate motion which has been put.
Right.
Speaker for. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have utilised the scooters once before, and I just wanted to point out that in the answers that have been, in the survey that has been conducted, 44.83% have, 55.17% have not ridden a scooter, but have actually voted against this. I just don't, I believe that it's something that the look of the scooters is what's causing the issues more so than the function of them. So I just think that that needs to be taken into consideration.
Thank you, Councillor Biskovich. Speaker against the motion. Speaker for the motion. Councillor Johnson.
I didn't know where to put my hand up in this, so I put it up as voting for, but I can always reserve the right to change my mind. Just one of the things, when this first came up, I voted against it because of the issues with what we had in the community and the perception of what was going to happen. The officers have prepared a pretty detailed report, and they've gone off and they've gone to hospitals and police and all the rest of it. And coming back, nothing hits me. That really stands out, that we shouldn't really go ahead and continue the trial. So on that alone, I'm swayed to say that. But I still have some reservations, and those reservations do sit around the policing. These things are ridden on the road. These things are ridden in tandem, as has been said before. These things are ridden without helmets. The way that they are ridden, sometimes crossing roads and all the rest of it, really leaves a lot to be desired. So I like Councillor Turner. I'm going to sit back and have a listen to a few others around the table. I think that I'm leaning towards another 12 months, but I think these are the things that need to be addressed, and I think that what BIM are going to be doing and what Councillor Winner's motion does, especially along the lines of using strategies and technologies and all the rest of it. Like I heard that we can see that these things are now falling over. And if they're falling over or they're parked in places which block footpaths. They're good. I've not ridden one. I'm one of those who haven't ridden one, but I'm also one that didn't vote on the survey for that reason. Okay, so I'll reserve my right a little bit on that one, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker against. Speaker for, Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too have reservations, various things that I've come across. The safety aspect. As Councillor Turner said, there's numerous youths doubling up, tripling up on these scooters. And even outside my work along Throstle Street, I watched a guy, just a single participant on the scooter, speeding along the footpath across the road. The fence is 6 foot high and goes right to the corner of Hay Street. And he just mowed along. He didn't slow down even when he got to the corner for the street, straight across the street. Many of these do not understand the road rules. They don't, and if they do, they have scant disregard. I just feel sorry for any person, whether it be a kid, a mother pushing a pram and comes around the corner, she's just pushing it and the scooter, bang. I just have reservations. The cost, I believe 20 cents a ride, possibly. Is there any money put aside for the damage that these scooters cause and the city picks up the bill? It's a bit ordinary. The parking of them, just dumped in the street, and it's literally in the street. You're driving home at night and they're out 5-6 feet onto the road down these side streets. Liability. Has been said that Beam Mobility accepts all liability. I've been in the policing game for 34 years and in the court system. You can say all you like, oh no, Beam will cover it, but some people can take the city to task because, as Councillor Turner said, moral stand. And last thing, the hospital. It's been alleged the hospital has stated that they have many cases attending the hospital, scooter-related injuries. And yet when Beam Mobility spoke to us, no, that wasn't an issue. So, like some of the other councillors, I do have reservations, but I'm keen to hear what others do say.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against. Speaker for. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to commend Councillor Winner for the greater detail that's gone into this motion, and I'd like to speak for it. I note that there were 1,209 participants, indicating that that's a really broad input of community members voicing their concerns and their support or non-support for this project. 55% of respondents, having never used e-scooters, also assist in providing their perspective so that we can ensure we have well-rounded feedback and diversity. So it's really great to have both sides of those for and against the e-scooter continuing. I'm really pleased with the operator's responsiveness to current concerns. It demonstrates their commitment to foster a responsible riding culture and increased user education and compliance measures for helmet use, underage riders, dinking and e-scooter placement. So when we're talking about the e-scooters being left on footpaths, part of their geofencing ensures that they have the dedicated areas for these scooters to be placed. This ensures that they are looking out for the safety and the their civic responsibility within the community. The trial has provided invaluable data on popular routes and usage patterns, empowering city planners to make informed decisions regarding infrastructure upgrades to support the data-driven approach and aligning and evolving urban experience and to enhance amenities for all users. So I think that's been a really great outcome of this report as well. It shows us where everybody is using the scooters and that we have the capacity to be able to improve these areas as well. And rather than discontinuing the e-scooter program, the trial emphasises all participants to collaborate so that we can address the challenges for the community moving forward, whilst also providing us with alternative transport modes around the city, embracing innovation, and that will, I suppose, provide the city as being a reputation of being progressive, environmentally conscious and forward-thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Bodica.
Yeah, like Councillor Turner and Councillor O'Donnell, I've got reservations about the e-scooter program. My main concerns are around the monitoring of what's going on with it, because I too have actually seen numerous people riding the scooters in the middle of the road without their helmets on, you know, having some really at-risk behaviours. So, you know, I mean, it is a good program, but I think because of some of the people that have actually not been doing the right thing, it's actually given it, you know, a bit of a poor name within the community. I don't think it's anything just at the look of the scooters. I think it's the actual dumping of scooters in people's driveways, on roundabouts, you know, and things like that that are causing the issues. So, and I have never seen a beam bus, you know, sort of monitoring anything. Down in the CBD, you do see a lot of people also riding their scooters straight past, you know, businesses' doorways, and quite a few near misses as well. So I'm a little bit, you know, sort of torn about it. But yeah, so that's my opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Brownlee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I suppose prior to hearing the comments of my fellow councillors and the Deputy Mayor, I've taken a bit of a step back myself, just also considering the feedback and roughly seeing how it's almost split down the middle with regard to the support or people who are against supporting the e-scooter within our city. Some of the things, the concerns that have been raised by my fellow councillors here tonight, they were issues that I've heard raised by others. However, I do believe that when this initiative was supported, I suppose it's understandable that we were going to have teething problems, that there were going to be issues. I am leaning towards the support of the amended motion. I think Councillor Winner has, through the actions outlined in the amended motion, I think I think he's definitely thought about the issues, some of the perceived or I guess the worries that we have as a council with regard to people being hurt. I would have liked to have seen exactly in more detail what those initiatives that BEAM was working on with regard to addressing some of the concerns that people have had. However, I suppose a question that I did have was, how could we improve it? Is there any way that we as that the city could benefit in a much better way from the from authorising or permitting another 12 months to operate the e-scooters in our city? However, I must say I am leaning towards supporting the amended motion and the BEAM mobility scooters in our city, just to be able to see whether or not we could improve feedback or be able to better address the feedback that we have received from our residents and ratepayers here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brownlee. All councillors have spoken either, well, on the fence or for at this particular point in time. Just to clarify for you, Councillor Brownlee, BEAM did present to us, and that's where I'll start my address, to speak for the motion by Councillor Winner. BEAM presented to us on the 11th of March with their particular strategies, which may complement Councillor Winner on his motion this evening, which addresses that parking penalties, geofencing, implementation of rider safety, rider behaviour, focusing on helmet non-compliance, tandem riding, and never did I ever think that we would use the word dinking in an ordinary council meeting as identified by the Deputy Mayor, but it is absolutely atrocious, the rider behaviour and the rider safety that takes place in this city regarding this trial. If this council decides this evening to not support this particular motion, those users have themselves to blame for the way in which this particular trial has progressed. My own personal opinion is that I'm not supportive of the motion. However, I take that hat off tonight to support what the community has put back and which Councillor Winner has put back tonight as well, and that is to support the particular motion. I feel that it is skewed by non-users, as identified by Councillor Viskovich, and that was quite in the no corner. But we do have many issues that are relevant to these particular scooters, and these are hire scooters that we're only speaking about here at Council. We're not speaking about the personal scooters that are ridden around our city as well. Councillors, be mindful of the fact that if we do take the BEAM scooters away, whether or not you're skewed towards yes or no, that there will still be issues with scooters in the city. Just because we eliminate the hire providers does not mean that there will not be still issues with scooters in our city. They're not easy to move when they are on footpaths. Try running and trying to get one out of the way at the same time. It is quite an effort. We have a lot of clouded personal views in regards to this particular item tonight, but never have I seen before an item that's come to this council, as I spoke about when we endorsed it 12 months ago, that identifies so many pathways within our community strategic plan. I do raise also the fact tonight that we have never had, as Councillor Winner has put, an item that's come for community consultation where one vote splits it. Unbelievable. Over 1,209 participants, and we've got one particular sway yes or no. It is truly unbelievable. Councillor Winner, you have a right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I thank all my councillors around the table for their words and their thoughts on this matter. I want to start by acknowledging that many councillors did display a fair degree of uncertainty on this motion, and I must say that I also shared these concerns when I first saw this motion appear on the agenda. And when I'm faced with some uncertainty, for me, I go to the facts. And the facts are that these scooters have been very, very well used by both our community and visitors to our community. These scooters have provided a means for transport for those who previously did not have a means. And they have opened up more accessibility options and brought something new and renewable to our community. They have had their problems and concerns, yes, but these are not ones which are unsurmountable. And I hope that this alternative motion helps address these concerns which have been raised. Yes, we need to ensure that these scooters are being placed in places which are not reducing the access or quality of life for our residents by blocking our footpaths. We need to continue to evolve safety measures, and we need to look at ways to meet our community expectations on this matter. I feel this motion addresses this. The benefits these scooters have provided for our community cannot be understated. There have been some speed bumps, excuse the pun, along the way, but we should not drop something which there is a clear support for just because it's hard. We need to remember that this motion is for the hireable e-scooters. We need to ensure that we are not mixing private scooter issues with the hire scooters, and note that even if this motion was unsuccessful, there will still be private scooter issues, which is where the education campaign outlined in this alternative motion is so critical. Let's continue to work together with our hire operators to ensure and enable a great addition to our community continues to be used while addressing the concerns raised by our community in a proactive way. Let's use this opportunity as a means to create a blueprint to assist in advocating in changes needed for all forms of scooter usage across the state, whether that's across local laws or legislation. So I do hope, councillors, that you do vote in favour of this alternative motion and see with a number of more conditions. And again, these are not the only conditions, but these are the conditions to be included in the permit to see scooters continue in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. I now open the vote for item 15.2.2, hireable e-scooter trial outcome. Those in favour of Councillor Winner's motion, please raise your hand. 7. Those against, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Bodica, carried 7-2. Item 15.2.3, Local Emergency Management Committee. Council, we require an absolute majority for this particular item. A mover for the officer recommendation. Moved by Councillor Brownlee, seconded by Councillor Winner. Discussion? No, none taken. No dissent? Carried 9-0. Item 15.2.4, response to motion, workforce accommodation, an officer recommendation there to note the report. Councillor Turner to move, seconder. Councillor Winner. Councillor Turner.
So firstly, I'd like to thank the officers for the speedy response to this. Was from our last council meeting, ordinary council meeting. I'd like to note we have had a significant amount of increase in workforce accommodation since January 2018. Obviously, this is only accommodation that's been lodged as workforce accommodation, so I think we need to be aware that we do have a lot of other accommodation options throughout the city, of which our officers have been very diligent in noting some changes to some caravan parks, which was very good that they included that. So I hope, I'd like to thank them for being able to provide that information for us, and we'll, I suppose, have some ongoing discussions further down the track on what other accommodation options we have, and I can foresee probably another motion further on to get some other numbers on some other accommodation that we have.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to start, as I did when this motion was raised, by thanking Councillor Turner for bringing this to the table. The information provided in this report allows us as councillors to consider a lot of our moves in a more strategic way when moving forward, when we're considering our own accommodation development opportunities, as well as speaking to potential investors who are interested in investing in our community, to allow them with a bit of a blueprint about where the city's currently at and what our needs currently look like. I agree with Councillor Turner that there's probably some more reports that I'd like to see come along the way. This has probably really tipped it off for me, and I've got a few other ones I'd like to see, and I'm keen to work with Councillor Turner to bring these reports to the table. But I would like to echo Councillor Turner's sentiments in thanking the staff for bringing this through, because for me, on a personal level, it has allowed me to think a little bit more strategically in some of our bigger picture planning, which is what we as a council continue to do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker for, Councillor Johnson. Point
Just a
of
point
clarification.
of clarification, if I can ask. We do have caravan parks now mentioned in here. Point of clarification is, are these caravan parks totally compliant with what the officers have put out there as a requirement to change a tourist park or a caravan park to compliant?
Councillor Johnson, I will take that as a question to staff, but won't seek an answer as it does not refer to the original report requirements.
That's fine. It just gets mentioned in the report, so I just wanted to know if they were.
Sure. Mr. CEO, would you like to provide any other further commentary on that?
Through you, Mr Mayor. I'm not sure off the top of the head. We will take that on notice and provide a response.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker for, speaker against. The mover has the right of reply. Not taken. No dissent, councillors. Carried 9-0. Item 15.25, renewal of lease 0928757 over lot 441 Kitchener Road. Mover for the officer recommendation. Move, Councillor Turner. Seconder, Councillor Winner. Councillor Turner, you wish to speak?
Yes, I'd like to thank the staff for bringing this to Council's attention, and I fully support the officer recommendation to not support the renewal of the lease. Having viewed the condition of the property, several areas of non-compliance, and I believe that areas are not fit for habitation. I'm fully supportive of the officers' work that they've done here in not supporting this lease.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Winner, no discussion. Councillors, any dissent? With no dissent, carried 9-0. Item 15.3 under Community Development, 15.3.1 Club Night Lights Program Application, Usher Park Lights Upgrade. Mover for the officer recommendation. Moved Councillor Winner, seconded Councillor Brownlee. Councillor Winner, you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I will speak briefly on this item. I'd like to commend the staff for putting this forward and for seeking out funding in this area. I just want to highlight this is the start of a lot of work that we're doing across our ovals to improve our lighting to allow for additional usage, particularly in the nights. Usher Park was identified as the first one off the first cab up the rank, given what it needs and where it fits in terms of the rating system and the risk factors related with its usage. So again, I'm very hopeful we're successful in the applications, and I can't wait to see the rest of the ovals completed over the next year to 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Councillor Brownlee. Speaker for, Councillor Turner.
So firstly, I'd like to say I am very excited to see this motion come to Council. From when I was a councillor previously up until 2021, we had, I think, one application, which was the Hockey Association, which did that off their own back, and the city supported it. This Nightlights program has been around for a while, and I have watched in despair at other local governments being granted significant programs to upgrade their community facilities under the program, and I'm sure our local member of parliament has also looked on in despair that we haven't applied for this when there's been basically money to go begging. So I'm very excited that this is the first cab off the rank, and I know that there's big plans coming, and I'm very, very supportive, and I'm hopefully that we're successful, and Usher Park is the first of our sporting grounds, and in a couple of years' time, they're all upgraded.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I want to echo Councillor Turner's comments. She got in before me. But this is very, very good for the city. This adds to the livability of the patrons in the city. I remember using Usher Park when I first got here back in the 80s. I'll digress. I turned up for the soccer training for my 5-year-old son. He's now 42. And all the mums looked at me and said, "Oh, you're the coach." No, I'm the dad. I ended up being coach. But what I'm trying to get back is, I remember Usher Park back in the 80s, and to now with the City Lights program starting first up, I think that's fantastic. And I too can't wait until the program is completed and a lot of our ovals and sporting grounds are going to have class lighting at the thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Before the mover has a right of reply, I too was part of Usher Park in the 80s, in 1989, if we want to go down memory lane tonight, playing T-ball. Councillors, as noted by already spoken tonight, Councillor Winner and also Councillor Turner, yes, there are more projects in the pipeline. This one was the easiest one to get in straight away to get to line up with the matrix for funding, so very excited for that, and also very excited to see other lights being upgraded within our city as well. Mover has the right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep this really brief. Sport in our community plays such an integral part of both attracting, retaining and improving the livability of our residents. So our ability to look at ways to improve that is absolutely paramount. And I really do want to commend the staff for identifying and applying for this. I'm very hopeful over the fact that we haven't put applications in the past, that we will be successful, and this will really kickstart our lighting renewal project, as mentioned before, over the next couple of financial years to really, really look at ways that we can improve in this space. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Any dissent to item 15.3.1? No dissent. Carried 9-0. 15.3.2 was part of our en bloc. 15.4.1, Kalgoorlie CBD, Boulder CBD footpath program. Councillor Turner has earmarked to move. Seconded, Councillor Bodica. Councillor Turner. Moving the officer recommendation just to stay.
Okay, so firstly I'd like to move the officer recommendation that we proceed with this program. Do you want me to speak to it now?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so...
Seconded, Councillor Bodica, already noted.
Okay, so this was one of the first motions that I brought to council when I returned to council last year in 2023. It was, I can say it was the biggest thing that people approached me on was the condition of our footpaths and the shocking state that they were in. And I myself went for a walk and I go walking all the time, but went for a walk through the CBDs, for example, in Boulder, and I was shocked at how much the footpaths had suddenly deteriorated, because I know there'd been a report recently and they weren't that bad, but there had been a rapid deterioration, and I understand that was because the city had significant difficulties attracting someone to do the paving. They did several tenders and they could not get any tradesmen or businesses to tender to do that work. So of course, when you're not doing any work, it deteriorates and it gets worse. And there was a lot of concern, and there were some very dangerous areas. Only last week, which I know Councillor Bodick will bring up, our local residents had a significant trip, and it's not good. And I know there was a lot of work involved with the officers here. They had to do a huge amount of work to reprioritise stuff, and they also had to shift a lot of money in our budget, and that's not easy to do. To be able to shift funds in budgets that are already set and to bring works forward, that's difficult, and that's a lot of work for staff to do. So I'd like to thank them for that. This is a very, very, very important project that we're about to undertake and bring forward. And also I do note that it will be ongoing. There will be other footpaths that will pop up that may need to get included in this, in the thing, that it's a moving, let's say, as much as our footpaths are moving, it's a moving program, and it will be fluid and will have some flexibility in there, but very much, very, very important city maintenance that we need to do.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Bodica.
Look, we've undertaken some good work, as Councillor Turner said, with upgrading the footpaths, and congratulations to the staff that have been involved in that. However, as we know, there is still a long way to go in the city. Our footpaths in both our CBDs have large areas of footpaths that are in a very bad state, and this replacement and maintenance project is therefore crucial with a view to addressing the high-risk areas that are in extremely poor conditions. Every single day we hear of somebody who's actually had a slip or had a trip or had a serious accident. And as Councillor Turner mentioned, we had a 73-year-old man the other day, I gave this to everybody earlier, who ended up in hospital. He's a cancer victim, and he had just come from chemo, and it's actually really set him back very badly. He, all of the, in the area that he fell, there's chipped paving, there's broken pavers, and just after that gentleman had a fall, another one had one 10 minutes later. This is a community safety and risk issue because many of the pavers are deteriorating and need replacement urgently. In the report before us, the officer states that 30% of the pavers need immediate attention, 33% need attention, and 37% need minor monitoring. This is a costly item, but we need to get onto it and act as soon as possible because it's a very, very important issue in the city. I just urge that everybody support the motion and that we get onto this ASAP and have it actioned as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker 4, Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't think there's any secret around the table within the community that our footpaths just aren't up to par where we need them to be. I do appreciate that we've been working very hard to try and attract contractors to be able to do this work, and that's increasingly becoming more and more challenging to do. However, as a council, I'd like to commend all councillors, in particular Councillor Turner, on raising this item through, and city officers on finding ways to push back some of our other community projects that we wanted to push through to ensure that we are being responsive to the needs of our community and to ensure greater safety through looking at ways that we can improve our footpaths. The options provided within the officers' reports and within the recommendation is going to cost the city millions of dollars to get this fixed and get it to a point where we won't have to continue to worry about this moving forward. And I do think the recommendation provided in this is a fantastic recommendation, and one which really will give us some greater life out of our footpaths and provide a much more durable surface. We not too long ago approved the motion to extend our e-scooter trials, so we can't continue to have these footpaths deteriorating at a rate that they have been. Otherwise, we're going to potentially see additional accidents, additional falls. We need to ensure that we are ensuring quality of life for our residents, and the basic access on a footpath is probably as simple and as easy as it is. So I do hope councillors do vote in favour of this. I do want to acknowledge that the staff's amazing efforts to get this fast track to a point where we can actually make a decision tonight on this matter and move significant funds around to ensure that we can attract and actually deliver on this project in the timelines that we're looking at. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker 4? Speaker against? Mover has the right of replying just a second after me. I will state, though, thank you, as pointed out by Councillor Winner and also Councillor Turner, the way in which staff have managed to move this around within the organisation, noting the implications against long-term financial planning and also against prioritisation of works, noting, as pointed out in the particular description this evening, that works on Porter Street, Hannon Street to the Laneway South, CBD maintenance projects, other high priority replacements, Hannon Street stages 2 to 3, which includes that particular area of Councillor Bodica has noted, and also Burt Street, 23rd of December 2024. So we do have a very swift program for that to take place based on availability of contractor. We are underway with that and we realise it's overdue. But also manageable. Thank you. Mover has the right of reply. Councillor Turner.
I'd just like to thank my fellow councillors for their comments, and also the last thing I want to say is that whilst we all want our footpaths fixed and we want them replaced, we will have to be mindful that there will be some disruption to normal services when this happens, and there will be some things. So we can't have everything. So people will have to be patient, and they'll have to be mindful that while the footpath works are undertaken, that there will be some disruption to normal services. So I'm sure the end result will be worth it, but I just would like to know and hope that the public is patient with that, and they see that when those works are happening, they're happening for a reason.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. With that, the motion is put. Councillors, those in favour, please raise your hand. Lovely. Carried 9-0. Keep you on your toes, councillors. Can you raise your hand? 15.4.2 was part of the en bloc. 15.4.3, proposed partial road closure, Davyhurst-Orabanda Road. Is there a mover for the officer recommendation? We'll get the motion first. Councillor Brownlee moving, seconded Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Brownlee moving the officer recommendation. They wish to speak. Councillor O'Donnell, no. Councillor Turner, you have a point of clarification.
Just in the officer's recommendation, there was to provide access to other parties being granted access to the temporary closed portion of Orabanda Road by means of a permit system administered by the city. I think when we'd had some discussion about this and we were briefed at the agenda briefing, there was a question about how long that permit system would be and if it would possible that it would be a longer than normal permit system given the amount of prospectors that have prospecting leases out there. So is that covered off in that, or do we need a slight amendment in there that there's a longer permit system required for those prospectors?
Mr CEO, the discussion last week, I think from the agenda briefing, was 12 months. Is that the case?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, that's my understanding of it, but I will confirm that. But certainly we can look at an extended period for the permit.
And also the cost of that permit system. I would hate to see those people disadvantaged while we're supporting a much bigger organisation.
Mr CEO, do you have the cost off the top of your head?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'm not sure there is actually a cost to the application for the permit, so I will confirm that though.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Turner, for raising those. Councillor Johnson, speaking
point
of a clarification.
Further point of clarification on that. If there's no cost and the city is running it, there is a cost. The companies that are benefiting out of this exclusive use, the city is going to be paying staff to administer the permit thing. Is that the way it's going to work? Or are we getting a kickback from the mining companies?
5 may cover that, Councillor Johnson. I'll still refer that though to the CEO. Mr CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Most of the permit application process is online. It's probably only a minute component which is actually staff time to process. So it is an online application process which is then forwarded through to the mining company so they're aware who's using the road.
Councillor Winner has a question.
I do. Thank you, Mr Mayor. My apologies, I've only just thought of it, otherwise I would have raised it last week. But what is the time frame on permits being approved or granted?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, it's my understanding that it only takes a day or so to authorise. It may even be quicker than that with the online process, but I will confirm that as well.
We have a mover in Councillor Brownlee, seconded in Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker for? Speaker against? No dissent? 1. Councillor Johnson to speak against. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. When I go through and I have a look at all the public comment in here, there's not one yes for the support. So going that way, I'm going to look at that and support the public. They do highlight a lot of different things out there for the sake of a 5-year break where a company can make some extra dollars, or for the sake of those who just wish to wander up that way and prospect, go onto their own leases. The Golden Outback Way goes up that way as well. When you read the reports, especially from the tourism operators and the Historical Society and our tourism people, there's lots of stuff up there that could be cut off as a tourism thing for this community. I don't think everyone will be going up there and getting a permit. And if they're on the road and they have an accident without a permit, I wonder where they sit. So on that, I will be voting against it.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Just a clarification on that point. The point at which, Mr CEO, I take your direction here, but the point in which the road is looking for the partial road closure is not part of the Golden Quest Discovery Trail. It loops around back towards Siberia as opposed to going further north. Mr CEO, is that correct?
Through you, Mr Mayor, that's correct. It goes to the Old Siberia Cemetery, then goes back out along Cane Grass Road, back out to the highway. The actual road finishes at the city boundary, and when you go into Shire of Menzies, it's a private road and it's closed anyway, so it is a dead-end road that goes up there.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. That's the Speaker against. Speaker for? Speaker against? Mover has the right of reply. Not taken. Councillors, those in favour of the officer recommendation, please raise your hand. Those against? Councillor Brownlee against. Councillor Johnson against. Carried 7-0. Sorry, 7-2. 7-2. Councillors, that moves us on to item 16. We have questions of which due notice has been given from Councillor Turner. Councillor Turner, you have the opportunity to state your questions.
Okay, so my questions are relating to the Loop Line organisation and the selling of its assets. So firstly, one, would you like me to just read them out and then...
There's no chance of debate. It's just reading the questions.
I didn't, the answers are there. Is or was the city aware of the Loop Line organisation selling its assets? Secondly, was the city approached to purchase any of these assets or take over ownership of these assets? 3, are any city assets stored or held by the Loop Line organisation? 4, if the answer to 3 is yes, is the city in the process of getting these items returned? 5, were any of the Loop Line organisation assets gifted to them by the city or any other local organisations we're aware of? 6, is the city aware that the Loop Line organisation has entered into a sublease arrangement for the property they hold under a management agreement with the state government? And 7, can the city confirm that the areas at Loop Line Park that the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder is responsible for?
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Questions taken on notice, councillors. You all have a copy in front of you, but for the purposes of which I will read the majority of the answers, noting there is a table which becomes quite difficult. However, the full questions will be responded to in the minutes. Question 1's answer. Saturday the 16th of March, the city became aware of the auction that is being undertaken for the sale of assets at the Loop Line site through a Facebook post. In the lead up to this, the city's communication with the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society consisted of many letters, 3 of those, and emails, 5 of which, and the information regarding those is in the table. At this particular point in time regarding that correspondence, the answer to the response is no. However, the response was received from an email on the 18th of the 1st seeking formal declaration on the position of the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society's position on the rail reserve land. We also had a response on the 22nd via email as above as well with yes in response to the same email discussed with the committee. On the 13th of the 3rd, an email from the Loop Line to the, from LC, sorry Mr CEO, LC is, from Louis Camperelli to Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society. That is, that there was a response from the Loop Line, a follow-up to the previous email, and also the 15th of the 3rd, an email as above, there was yes. The Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society advised that the AGM is to be held in June and that the committee will decide then. Out of all of that correspondence, a summary of that is that at no point on that correspondence was there the initial correspondence to the city regarding that there would be a auction of the assets. On the 25th of March, which was this morning, the city received an email from the chair of the Golden Mile Loop Line stating that following the failed Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Heritage Project 2016 due to KCGM lookout move and lack of local enthusiasm and support for the Great Boulder Tourism Precinct 2022, the Golden Mile Railway Loop Line Society has struggled to find direction. Lack of a project, and with its worn-out volunteers, our strategy is to make plans for the vast resources and assets that have been accumulated for these projects over the years. Combined with many break-ins that have seen much vandalism and theft, and with damage caused by time and neglect, it is necessary for us to tidy up and sell these assets. Some are outside the equipment is in poor shape and now uncovered. The balance of assets will be sold via traditional auction on the 13th of April on site. Ross's auctioneers have been employed to conduct. Funds received will be directed back into our account and the committee will have a meeting in June to discuss the organisation's future. Councillors, you also have further information in regards to that. However, I feel that that will be passed on to you also through the minutes. Item 2, was CKB approached to purchase any of the assets or take over ownership of these assets? Over a year, the answer. Over a year ago, the city was in discussions to purchase the Loop Line tram, but due to the price and condition of the asset, the city did not purchase the tram. The city was not approached to purchase any of the assets that are being auctioned. In terms of gifting of assets upon winding up, the city had previously advised that the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society that they are not an eligible party to receive any distributed assets as per the definitions pursuant to section 24(1) of the Act 2015 and therefore could not assume responsibility for the assets and maintenance of the Loop Line once any formal administration or winding up arrangements commences. Question 3, are there any CKB assets stored at or held by the Loop Line organisation? To the knowledge of the current city administration, there are no assets known by the city stored or held by the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society. Last year, the city removed all of its war memorabilia, including vehicles, to the Norman Johns Hall for storage. During the development of the Boulder Tourism Precinct Activation and Opportunities Report, the city's consultants engaged with the Loop Line Society to determine the future of the site and heritage value. The report indicated that the Boulder Railway Station and the broader railway reserve contains many structures, loose artefacts and items of equipment and rolling stock that have varying levels of significance, provenance and ownership, creating complex future management considerations, including ongoing maintenance obligations. 4, if the answer to 3 is yes, is the city in the process of getting these items returned? As above, there are no known items belonging to the city at the site. Question 5, were any of the Loop Line organisation assets gifted to them by the city or any other local organisations we are aware of? The city has not gifted any assets to the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society, and as above, during the development of the Boulder Tourism Precinct Activation and Opportunities Report, the consultants provided photos of each item at the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society site, and the Eastern Goldfields Historical Society confirmed each item's significance to the locality, railways and Boulder Rail. Several of these items were identified as being either owned by the Eastern Goldfields Historical Society, WA Museum or Rail Heritage WA, or no ownership could be identified. In the email received by the Chair today, the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society has contacted these organisations and they are arranging to retrieve their items. They confirm that any other loan item that can be identified as another organisation or individual's property, they are also attempting to return. Question 6, is the city aware that the Loop Line organisation has entered into a sublease arrangement for the property they hold under a management agreement with the state government? As per the Goldfields Aboriginal Language Centre's website, they are located at the Boulder Railway Station building, which is located on Reserve 6662. The agreement between the centre and the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society is unknown. However, according to the Reserve Management Order conditions, there is power to lease subject to the consent of the Minister for Lands. The Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage have advised there is no record of approval granted by or on behalf of the Minister for Lands for any sublease. In the email received by the Chair of the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society today, the Railway Society and the Aboriginal Legal Centre have made an arrangement that allows the Boulder Station to be open, and the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society are displaying some of the Loop Line story and items. Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society also confirmed that the Kalgoorlie-Boulder artisan blacksmiths are also well established in the sheds and facilities. Question 7, can the city confirm that the areas at Loop Line Park that the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder is responsible for? Loop Line Park is situated on Reserve 32594, which has a legal area of 13,960 square metres. Reserve is vested under management order directly by the State of Western Australia to the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder for park, parking and civil defence land uses. The reserves include the Loop Line Park and Playground, a curved access road with parking, a house and vacant land. The reserve does not include any Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society buildings, railway infrastructure and assets. Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society is located on Reserve R6662, which has a combined legal area of 62,881 square metres. Reserve is vested under management order directly by the State of Western Australia to the Golden Mile Loop Line Railway Society for a tourist railway land use. Your questions will be answered in the minutes, Councillor, and they have been provided to all councillors. That is item 16, rather lengthy one, thank you. Item 17, confidential items. We have 2 to discuss tonight. Can I get a motion to move into camera? Deputy Mayor moved, seconded by Councillor Brownlee. No discussion, councillors? No. With no dissent, carried 9-0. We'll move into camera for item 17, 17.11 and 17.12. Thank you to those who are still tuned. Not yet. Behind closed doors. Both are confidential in nature due to the commerciality. One of those was for an offer of expressions of interest for 101 Brookman Street, and the other was regarding a dance agreement for the city to consider. Item 18, date of the next meeting will be the 22nd of April 2024, and note the meeting closure time this evening of 9:14 p.m. Thank you very much to our staff who have put the detail together in our agenda. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Thank you to our youth council who are here tonight. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, press. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in. Good evening.